let's talk about some of the signs of progress on the spiritual path. Now, there's so many signs. There's one pretty big indicator, which is just how much you think. As we progress on the spiritual path, you'll find that you'll think less, that the mind will become more peaceful. An overactive mind is really the start of the journey. And then, or you could say is just the start of the journey might be the awareness of the overactivity of the mind. I'm not my thoughts, right? And as we progress further and further, the mind becomes more quiet and still and can come to a place of stillness, the 0 point. So that's one, thoughts. And you'll see with a lot of these, it's a spectrum, right? Another one is acceptance at the start, right? I'll just use kind of start and end to just make the video simple. Not accepting, a little bit more accepting, a little bit more accepting, a little bit more and more and more and more and more, and unconditional acceptance, right? Same with love. Not loving, not loving, and more loving, right? Peace, right? Same thing. Not peaceful, conflict, less conflict, a little less. Peace. Safety, right? Not feeling safe, right? Safety, security, right? And then safe, secure. But it's not a security from the material world. It's a security in your being, as your being, the safety of your being, the safety of eternity, that safety, which is why we can look for safety in certain things. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, looking for safety in a house or job or career, but all those things are temporary. There's something that's not a something, but it's permanent. So acceptance, love, thoughts, suffering, right? More suffering, less suffering, right? Suffering, you can say, is like it's the opposite of happiness, right? So the end of suffering is everlasting happiness, right? So when there's more suffering, there's definitely not a lot of happiness, right? The more you suffer, the more unhappy you are. Awareness, right? So your awareness is going to expand, right? The start, that's where when people aren't even interested in spirituality and they're not interested in going within, and there's like no self-awareness, right? And then we become more aware of our limited self, right? The ego self. We become a little bit more aware of our mind, our personality, our strengths, our weaknesses, our words that we're saying, our feelings, how we make other people feel, our surrounding, our environment, our energy, our moods. All those things we start developing more and more awareness of until we become aware of our infinite being, the true self. Self-awareness, true self-awareness. Creativity is at the start. Very much destruction, right? Destructive patterns. And that's what kind of self-care is kind of like the diving board to get kind of into more personal growth and then spiritual growth. And it's when we really become aware of some of the destructive patterns in our life, some of our addictions, some of the patterns that this is not, if I keep living like this, it's going to destroy me. It's destroying my family. It's destroying my relationship. It's destroying my work. It's destroying my success. Any of that type of stuff, there's more of that awareness. And when there's that awareness, then there's more of self-care, which then is the pivot from destructive patterns to supportive patterns, where you want to support yourself. You want to be supporting life. So there's that. Responsibility, not responsible, right? Because the very start of the journey is we're immature. We don't want to take, right? I don't want to do it. Not me. No way, right? Not being responsible, not having the ability to respond. Not having the ability to respond is very unconscious. Having the ability to respond, right? If we're unconscious, we're reacting. So let's tie that in. Reactive. And then now we progress, we become more responsive. The ability to respond, right? So the responsibility increases. As the responsibility increases, our sense of power increases. The powerless, powerful, right? What else can we say? Creativity, right? I was talking about that. The destructive patterns, and then now more creative patterns, right? We're destructive to life, and then now we're creating, right? You become more creative. In line with that is self-expression. Here we're really suppressing ourselves. And here, as we progress, we're really expressing ourselves. Right? Here we're worried about what people are thinking about us, right? And we're not really expressing ourselves. We're suppressing all of it. Right? There's more conformity at the start. And then you're starting to not conform, right? You want to express your uniqueness. Here, conformity. Here, uniqueness, right? Which again is a lot of these you'll see they're all intertwined. A lot of that has to do with, again, acceptance. When you don't accept yourself, then you're suppressing yourself. And then you tend to just conform to what other people want you to be, what society wants you to be, because you're not being yourself, right? So as you progress, there's more and more that you're just being yourself. And when you're being yourself, well, that's authenticity, right? So you're inauthentic. And then there's more progression to being more authentic, being more and more of yourself. What else can we say about that? When you're being more and more yourself, you're going to feel this is unnatural. And as you progress, you're going to feel more and more natural. Start, you're not going to have, you're always presence, but it's from the relative level, it's like you're less and less present, right? You're more absent to life. You're not present to life. And then here, you're more present to life. You're more present. Because you're more present, then your experience is more full. You're here, you're experiencing it. If you're absent, how can you experience this? Right? So there's more of a rich and full experience when you're present, right? So the presence. As you progress, there's more of a maturing of the ego. more maturing, and it's a thinning out of the ego, you could say. Right? Being present to the moment is, again, that presence, like being present to the moment here at the start in your head, past, future, stuck in the past, or maybe you're only focused on the goals of the future. You're not here, right? So you're not present. As you progress, you're going to find that you're more and more present, kind of tying into the being more peaceful. Is here, you really have troubles being by yourself and in silence and still. And here you actually start enjoying it. Like as you progress, you start wanting more silence, wanting more stillness. You start being able to be more still, right? Whereas the end is like, you are that stillness. You are that silence. What else can we say? So there's that maturity, power, responsibility, authenticity, acceptance, love. You're just getting more and more. What's happening is it's like the separate self is becoming very thin, and you're getting more and more of the true self. It's like the flavors, the aromas of the true self, which is, your kindness, generosity, right? Less generous because you're stuck in a survival mode, right? Only thinking about me and mine. Very much selfish, selfless, right? Not generous, generous, right? Not so kind, right? Hurting others, right? Hurt people, right? So then you become more kind, right? Because you're denying your suffering, and you haven't gone into your suffering, and you haven't developed self-compassion, then you don't have any compassion for others. You don't have any compassion for yourself. How could you have compassion for others? Right? So you become more and more compassionate, more and more empathetic. You're more and more empathetic because you're more open. You're more open. As you progress, you become more open. And because as you progress and become more open, you're also becoming more and more sensitive to the subtleties of life, like other people's feelings. So then that makes you more and more empathetic because you can sense what other people are feeling. You can feel it like your own feelings. You're tapping into what they're feeling. You might feel like, again, more psychic. You can start seeing what other people are thinking. Not really a seeing, but like a seeing from an awareness point of view. You're perceiving what they're thinking. That's something else. Lightness, right? Here you feel heavy as you progress, you feel lighter. Like we talked about with awareness, is the awareness, so your ability to see, not with just these two eyes, but with your spiritual eye, the spiritual vision, you're able to see more. Clarity, not clear, it's very distorted at the start. As you progress, there's a clarity, more and more you're seeing things more clearly, meaning you're seeing them as they are, because that's what makes the whole path difficult, is it's all illusion, it's all darkness. That's why it's enlightenment, and there's no darkness. So someone who's enlightened, you can see clearly, you see things simply as they are, right? You're light, you're the light. Whereas this whole area it's dark. It's dark. People can't see their way on the path because it's dark. And there's a lot of delusion. So more delusion, less deluded, right? But really there's a line there where it's, okay, delusion, illusion, and then truth. And once the truth is realized, then the illusion It like it falls away. You're not fooled by it, right? The relative still remains, but you're not fooled by it. You're not fooled by it. Like your inner wisdom, your intuition, your inner knowing, that's going to increase. Now that's like a little near, I wouldn't say near the end, but it's definitely further along the path, because at the start, don't even know what intuition is, really. Like, you're so disconnected. The openness of your mind, close mind, close mind, close mind, less close, less close. Okay, I'm going to open it. Okay, little open, opening up more, right? Same with the heart, really cut off. What's the heart? I don't know what that heart is, right? And then you start opening the heart. A lot more wound, right? Wounds that are really unhealed, right? And then start feeling a little bit more of those wounds, and you start being able to heal yourself more and more. So there's a healing that takes place. Wholeness, completeness, feeling very incomplete, not whole, and then feeling more and more complete, more and more whole. Again, because you're right accepting all parts of yourself. It's only when you can accept all parts of yourself that you can feel whole and complete. Right? And so we said at the start, there's not that acceptance, which means there's rejection. Right here, we're rejecting ourselves, and as we progress, there's less and less rejection, meaning there's more and more acceptance. At the start, there's resistance to life, resistance to everything, right? There's less and less and less and less resistance. When there's less resistance, right, there's more allowance. You just simply allow life. Full state is full, allowing everything to happen. Everything and anything to happen. That's a full unconditional allowance. Feeling stuck, very stuck, like you're so stuck, you're lost and stuck and don't know what the path is, right? And then you can get stuck along the path. You need someone to help get you unstuck, right? But really, this whole area is really like stuckness. And then you start, okay, less and less stuck. And when you're less and less stuck, well, then you're in the flow. You're experiencing the flow of life. Because really, life is flow. When you're stuck, you're stuck in your mind. And outside your mind is reality. Outside your mind is life, the flow of life. Geez, we can say so many things, so let's not make it too long. Anything major? Definitely missing out on a bunch, I'd imagine. We said suffering, acceptance, resistance, holding on. Right here, we're holding on to so much, right? When we're holding on to so much, whatever you hold on to, you're always going to have a fear of losing it. So there's a holding on, less holding, letting go more and more, letting go, letting go, letting go, letting go, right? Letting go. And again, because of that holding on, what we're holding on to, there's more fear, less fear, less fear, less fear, less fear, right? So there's definitely the fear, stress, way more stress, less stress, less stress, less stress, right? And then it's no stress. Let's end it there. I've given enough kind of examples, but take a look. There's one thing to just listen to these examples. There's another thing for you to have. It's added to the list. Radical honesty. Dishonest, more honest, more honest, more honest, more honest, more honest, right? So honesty has to do with truth. Here is truth. The end is truth, right? Here is all lies. If we're not honest with ourselves, then you can say we're not being truthful. And if we're not being truthful, meaning if we're not being full of truth, then we're full of lies. Full of truth, full of lies. Can't be both, right? So honesty. So back to what I was saying, don't just watch the video. Try and see it for yourself and be radically honest with yourself to kind of see maybe where you're at. And then you'll start seeing what you need to actually do, because I've presented it as very much as a spectrum. So if you feel like, yeah, there's parts of you that you don't accept, then you might be like, I'm kind of like 50% in acceptance, let's say. So I got to accept more of me. I got to accept my body. I got to accept my feelings. I got to accept these thoughts. I got to accept my family. I got to accept my work situation. I got to accept my financial situation, whatever it is. More and more acceptance of life is going to allow you to progress. So when you start seeing these things as very much like a continuum or spectrum, then you kind of know. If you can just be radically honest with yourself, then it's like, yeah, I'm not really that present. I'm kind of like here. Well, then you know what you need to do, right? You know what you need to do. And there's lots of different videos and meditations on my channel that can help with that, right? So you can see that. You can see I'm really holding on to a lot of things, right? So then you can practice letting go, right? You can practice letting go, which is really practicing surrender, because at the end, what is needed for enlightenment is unconditional surrender. You surrender. You surrender your life. You surrender yourself as a separate self, as an ego. At the time, you don't know separate self and ego. You don't know. It's just you surrender your life. You surrender your life to God. You surrender your life to something bigger, a higher power, the universe, whatever you want to call it. But that's what you're surrendering. But it's nice to see these spectrums, because you can see kind of where you're at, how much fear you're experiencing, how much suffering you're experiencing, how much happiness you're experiencing, how much acceptance you have, how much honesty you have, how much resistance you're creating. All these, and then that way you kind of know, in order to progress, well, then it's you got to resist life less, right? You got to allow. Don't resist. Start allowing, right? So, like, they're opposites, right? Resistance is something that you do. To allow something to happen, you don't do anything. So that's what I mean when I usually say, like, we're in our own way. You are the obstacle. It's all that effort, right? Resisting and holding on to things, that's a doing, right? Surrender is a non-doing. You don't do anything. You just surrender to what is. You just accept what is. You just allow what is. So then we start seeing that, oh, okay, yeah, you stop doing those things, which is then more acceptance, more allowance, more, right? You start because you're allowing more things and you're accepting more things. You're more in that flow. You're feeling more whole and complete, right? You're not in resistance, so you're not creating the friction, which means you're not creating the stress. So you can start seeing how all these things that I've mentioned, they're so interconnected and intertwined, I guess you can say, right? So it's kind of cool to see them like that. They can really kind of point out where you're at, and maybe that helps you. And of course, if you have any questions regarding that or need any specific pointers for where you're at and what you're experiencing, leave a comment and I'll try and help you, or I'll make a video addressing that. And until then, I'll see you in the next one.